I've been thinking a lot lately. And the more awake I become, the more I realize just how faulty humankind is, including myself. The more lessons I learn, the more I actually heed those lessons and see all aspects of those lessons and really absorb it and take it in so that the lessons don't repeat themselves, the more I see through everything around me. And mind you, yeah, it's kind of disturbing when you really see just how much most of the population doesn't understand. The more you realize that everything around you isn't the reality. And I think that when you you see Hollywood now, and man, I'll tell you what, they're just taking it way too far. I mean, I think we knew a while back that Hollywood was just really fixed on image and what you look like, and if you didn't look a certain way, then you weren't in the in crowd. And even with that, even the most beautiful people that you see are just ripped up one side and down the other, and to the point where it's like a feeding frenzy. Like, people don't understand that all they're doing is creating a vicious cycle of mental illness. Like, there was a period of time, and I mean a brief period of time, where you just saw like Hollywood, and this wasn't too long ago. Like, this is like the last year or two. And man, some of the people that you saw before were looking really good now. And you're like, wow, how'd they do that? Like, they're aging in reverse. And then fast forward to like 2025 and 2026, and then you actually see that, okay, whoa. Not only does it start to not look good, but now it's starting to look so fake that it's kind of getting scary. And you realize that all that criticism that happens to people when they're in the limelight really ends up messing you up inside, to the point where you become addicted to fillers and Botox and what is it, liposuction, or the new GLP-1 pens and whatnot, and to the point where now it's getting so extreme that the whole Hollywood theme itself is starting to look very sick, very ill, not even humanistic, all plastic. And boy, if that term is not perfect on the money, all plastic. But the truth be told is that it was all plastic in the very beginning. None of these people are exactly how they portray themselves out on the stage, in film, or in camera. None of them are that way in real life. They're just portraying something else that they should become, or they want to become, in order to be accepted. But now it's like so apparent just how toxic the environment is in that realm, because now you can see the plasticity and the fakeness on the outside now. You know, it all starts inside, it all starts internally. You know, you pretend you're something you're not, you take on a persona, hoping to be able to be accepted by a lot of people, but then after a while, the mask starts to fall, the plastic starts to fade, it starts looking completely unreal, and then what are you left with? A shell of the human being that you were, so far gone that now you can't even recognize yourself on the inside. And I heard this statement recently, and I don't know where it started, but man, does it profound and how it speaks up to what's happening now. And I'll say it for you. Just give me a minute. The statement says, imagine being so ugly that all you have is your good looks. Imagine being so poor that all you have is money. And man, I'll tell you what, that hit me like a ton of bricks in the fact that I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so true. I can't believe how true that is. And the more you become awakened, the more you see the fakeness in people around you, and the more you identify with how you yourself were trying to keep up with what society wanted of you, the more you realize that everybody around you is simply just wearing a mask. No one is actually 100% true to who they are inside, and especially to people outside of themselves. And I have to acknowledge when I say that a lot of the times people are so fake externally that they themselves start to believe what they're portraying. And it's only until their life crashes all around them and something happens and they hit rock bottom do they realize, man, I was not who I said I was. It's those moments where they realize, yeah, I was just faking it the whole time. But the saddest part about that, in the realization of it, is that you really have to sit with yourself and go, wow, if I was portraying that person the whole time, who am I actually? Like, who am I? And, you know, this doesn't go for Hollywood. This goes for, you know, your next door neighbor, um, everybody in the world around you. So many of us are struggling just to try to make ends meet, and yet we're trying to portray an image that we're doing super great. Everything is wonderful. Everything is fine. When inside we're just really struggling just to get by day to day. And half of us just don't want to even look at our own selves and deal with our own selves. And then you wonder why um, your friends aren't around when there's problems in your life, or things happen and you need help. Like, no longer are people any help to each other when stuff hits the fan. If you haven't noticed, the people nowadays only want to be around you when you're uplifting and not when you're actually going through something. And it's very rare to find a real one who will sit with you through your mess and work with you through it to the other side. Boy, those are the true ones, I'll tell you that for sure. But how many people do you know nowadays that are like that? Not many, I'll tell you what. Most people um, will sit with you nowadays, hear the trauma that you've gone through, or the hardship that you've gone through, or the difficulties and choices that you're trying to make, and how things aren't going really right. Most people nowadays just sit with you because they want to hear how bad you're doing, so that they don't feel as bad about themselves, um, and what they're going through in their life. So, you know, the trust is eroding as far as friendship goes. Half the time, the people that you pour your heart out to when you're really struggling and you're trying to reach out and trying to get help, um, will turn around behind your back and go tell someone else of the mishaps you're going through in your life, just so that it takes, um, it distracts other people from what they're going through. So if they could put the focus on you and how your life is not going so well, then, you know, they don't get the spotlight. Of course, you know, they want the spotlight when everything's going good, so that they can look as though everything is perfect in their life, but they don't want the spotlight on themselves when they know they're struggling inside on their own. And so, you know, there's a lot to think about these days. And the more you can see through how fake people are being, how many masks people are wearing, how afraid people are nowadays to be transparent and authentic to themselves, and to honor who they truly are inside, the numbers are increasing so rapidly as far as the plasticity of the human being, that nowadays you can't even find an authentic person in your own um, physical environment. Most people are now reaching out through online, um, trying to find their authenticity, um, and presenting it to the world, when they won't present it to the world around them, the closest physical world around them. Because if they do, then more than likely they'll be rejected. So this is a lot of the food for thought that I've been thinking about lately, and realizing that, you know, there is this statement, like, if you want to change the world, you have to start with yourself. And so, you know, awakening is really tough. Like, when you're going through a spiritual awakening, and when I mean spiritual, I don't mean religion or anything like that. A spiritual awakening is really more so just like awakening to your own self, and realizing the patterns in your life that you're choosing that aren't in direct reflection of who you truly are inside. It's like trying to live your life for everybody else's benefit and neglecting yourself, um, in turn. I think when people go through a spiritual awakening, they realize that they're doing everything for everybody else, so that everybody else thinks that they're okay, but they're totally neglecting themselves and who they truly are and who they truly want to be. Um, and so they become invisible to themselves. So the truth be told, is spirituality or spiritual awakening is really not about so much religion as it is about awakening to, um, the fallibility within yourself, and seeing it, um, through viewing others on the outside of you, and then reflecting back on yourself and saying, oh wow, I didn't realize I was doing that too. And so it's really kind of coming back to yourself and trying to figure out, can I live my life going forward doing the same thing I've been doing, expecting different results, and obviously seeing that things are getting worse and worse and worse? Or should I now change direction, honor who I truly want to be inside, and risk the rejection of all the people around me because they can't understand who I truly want to be and who I was born to become? That's what truly a spiritual awakening is about. It's about awakening to yourself and about awakening to, you know, what is it you're feeding? Are you feeding everybody else, or are you feeding yourself? And if you're feeding everybody else, you're definitely starving yourself. And you have to get to a point where you realize, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I'm no longer going to starve myself for others' benefit. Or, in other words, you tell yourself, I'm no longer going to set myself on fire just to keep someone else warm. Especially when that person, if the situation was reversed, wouldn't even light a match for me. Yeah, just food for thought.